This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish, founder of Abish Financial Services.
A lot of firms out there say they will do tax planning, say they will do Social Security planning and RMD planning, and typically they just do investment management. They want your money.
You've worked hard your whole life to earn and save. Now you need a plan to make that money work hard for you.
Where do you stand today with your retirement accounts, with your insurance, with Social Security, RMDs, taxes, all of it? This is how we need to think. We need to think outside of the box on these matters.
Abe is here to help you unlock the keys to your retirement.
For many years, Social Security would send out paper statements in the mail that showed you your earnings history and your expected payment at age 62, 67, and 70. Of course, that practice has stopped. It stopped in 2011 when they moved everything online. You can still get a paper statement if you request one, but it won't have your earnings history. You can only get that information online. Plus, SSA will now show you your expected payment each year from 62 to 70. Abe, when you show someone the difference in payments, does it encourage them to wait? And if they do, then how do you work to help them fill the gap in those earlier years?
Yeah, great questions, Heather. Yeah, sometimes when people do see those increased Social Security benefit numbers going up every year, we know they go up by 8% per year, guaranteed and compounded from your full retirement age on. Sometimes they wait. They see those numbers increasing and they say, I'm going to wait, to get that compounded benefit. Others, when they're retiring early especially, will say, well, you know what, Abe? Hey, who's to say that I'm going to live until age 80 when my break-even point might be? Who's to say I'm going to live to 88? And with everything going on with the government and the country, a lot of people believe that Social Security may not be around in its current form 100% going forward. It might, benefits might be reduced and there may be changes. So when people see those increased numbers, it kind of just depends on what people's takes are concerning the Social Security program, what the current health is, how long their family lives. And so we want to take all these things into consideration when deciding when to claim our own benefits. And that's something that we help people with every day, Heather. For those people who have not taken Social Security yet and are retiring, is when to take Social Security. Right. It's an age-old question, So we just had a couple come in, and they're in their mid to late 60s. They live in the Gainesville, Manassas area of Virginia. They're retiring in 3 to 5 years, like right around 70, 72. And they have in between $500,000 to $750,000 saved. So they don't spend a lot. And so that amount of money coupled with a pension or two Social Security checks is going to be just enough for them to last them the rest of their lives, assuming no major losses happen, right? Which is a concern of theirs. And that they make the right decisions, right? Because they are in the retirement red zone, and it's football season. Yeah. Retirement red zone is that period of time where you have 5 years or less until full retirement. 5 years or less until you pull the trigger, stop working, paychecks stop, and everything else turns on, meaning Social Security, pensions, annuities, stocks, and everything else that you have.
Okay.
So their major problem, Heather, was that they had no income and distribution plan. Okay. And we try to keep it simple with people, and we say, when we're starting off our appointments with them, we say, do you really understand how we are different as a firm than most big box firms out there? And a lot of people, even though they have listened to us on the show here on WMAL for years, still really don't know the difference. And so there are only two phases of a retirement plan, phase 1 and phase 2, growth and income. Most big box firms out there help people with growth and accumulating and growing. Well, in the DC metro area, and most people that we meet with, they've done a very good job of saving. They have saved enough. They're concerned with phase 2. This second phase of their lives and this second phase of a retirement plan where everything could potentially go wrong, higher taxes, inflation, healthcare, making the wrong Social Security decision, making the wrong pension decision, help with RMDs, taxes, all of this. And so that's where a lot of these concerns were for this couple.
Got it.
So they had no roadmap. They had a growth plan. They had an investment plan with an investment firm here in the area. No income, no distribution plan. Weren't sure when to take Social Security. We helped them to solve all those things. Simply put together a retirement income plan and a distribution plan, gave them some analysis on when they should consider taking Social Security, and essentially put together a roadmap for them where for the very first time in their lives, they had a very clear picture as to how they were going to transition from their working career into retirement, and they hired us because of that.
So there is a lot we can do to increase the chances that our retirement will be a successful one, a la that income report that we were just talking about. But Morningstar's Amy Arnott says one thing that's beyond our control is something called the sequence of returns risk. And that basically means whether a big market drop takes place during the first few years of your retirement as opposed to the later years.
So if you're retired, you're probably taking withdrawals from your portfolio, which reduces the value. But then if the market is down, that reduces the value even more. So it's sort of a double whammy. And it can also hurt your results because there's not as much value left to rebound when the market recovers.
So how do you handle the sequence of returns risk when it comes to your clients, Abe?
Yeah, Heather, so when you're focused on growing, your nest egg, when you're focused on building and saving and accumulating, you're not really given much thought to distribution. And a lot of people, most people have no idea what sequence risk is or sequence of returns risk. And it's because they're focused on growing the pot.
Got it.
Right? And
Yep.
so a lot of people are coming in and they're retiring this year. They're retiring next year. They're retiring within 5 years. They're coming in. They have money saved. Most people we meet with have between $1 million and $3 million. Some $500,000, some $5 million and more. But the point is they have enough. And now they're hearing about all these things like, oh man, I got to make my Social Security decision. Oh man, in 2 years, I'm going to be forced to take out required minimum distributions. How is that going to impact me? And what if I don't even need the income or withdrawals? Do I still have to take them out? And what if the markets are down at the same time? So sequence risk is a risk that really has not affected most people the last decade, because for the last decade, the markets really haven't been down.
Got it.
Like if you look back at a calendar year, say 2016 or just pick a year from 2008 until now, we really haven't had a calendar year where the markets have been down 20, 30, 40% or 15%. And so we think retirees are in for a pretty big awakening here in the near future because we're at all-time highs in the market and because a lot of people will be facing sequence risk here soon. That's, I guess, if and when the markets fall, right? But we know what goes up must come down.
Right.
So sequence risk is the risk to any retiree that when the markets are down, you are also pulling out, withdrawing, distributing monies out of your retirement accounts, either because you want to or you're forced to for required minimum distributions. So we just had a lady call into our show. This was her biggest concern. She's 74. And she has a little over $2 million saved. She's fully retired. She's a former CSRS federal employee on the CSRS pension, no Social Security, huge pension. It's like $130,000 a year. So her main concerns were these forced RMDs, how that was going to affect her from a tax standpoint, but also concerns with these distributions that she doesn't need because her pension's paying the bills, and how sequence risk will affect her when the markets are down in the future. She was also concerned and just kind of wondering if her investments with this big box firm are aligned with her current investment profile, because a lot of times what happens, Heather, is people set up these investment plans, years ago, and then they don't hear from their advisor, and 5 or 10 years later, they're still in the same model, and what was appropriate 5 or 10 years ago may not be appropriate today for you. So she was also curious as to if she's properly aligned with her, that her investment profile matches her current needs and objectives. And so all of these things she was concerned with. So what was the solution for her? A comprehensive retirement plan that addresses both protection and growth. So not just a growth and accumulation plan, but now a plan specifically to help her with distributions, withdrawals, RMDs, sequence risk, taxes she was also concerned with. And that's really kind of what we specialize, right? In that phase 2, that distribution and income part of a retirement plan.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit retirementkeyradio.com and join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 2 p.m. on WMAL.
Patrick Volk is an investment advisor representative of J. Hagan Capital, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Abraham Abish and Patrick Volk are licensed in your state, please call 571-577-9968. Abish Financial Services is not not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity Guarantees relies solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Abraham Abish or Patrick Volk. NPN number 770-3575 and NPN number 727-978.